So, hello everybody. My name is Asta Partanen from nova-Institut, and I will be hosting today the Textile Recycling vadis, just a hype or the next big thing online session. And I'm very happy that Valmet is sponsoring this talk. And from Valmet, I have here Heli Kangas, and I have also from the German Research Institute for Textile, Melina Schachtleben, here with me, and also our media partner, Textile Technology. I can't see now how many people are already in. Verena, should we start the session already?
Yes, you can start.
Okay.
About 100 in the.
So the next slide, please. This format is living about the discussion with you. So please raise your questions anytime on the Q&A session, on a Q&A part. And we want to have a lovely discussion with the ladies that are here with me. The next one. The ladies, first one is Heli Kangas from Finland, from Valmet, and she's working on research and development for textile recycling. Other speaker is Melina Schachtleben from the German Research Institute for Textile Technology, and she is leading a department for multiple filaments. And we are very happy to have also Claudia van Bonn with us, because she's our media partner, and she is one of the ones that made it possible that so many people are present in this session. We had 255 people who had wanted to take part to this session. Next one, please. But before that, I, of course, also want to introduce you nova-Institut, as we are the hosts, and our passion is to defossilize, not decarbonize, defossilize the chemical and renewable materials industry. And for this, we need bio-based CO2 from the air and recycled materials. So no brother wars. We want to work together on all kinds of materials that help us to defossilize the industry. And for that, we want to help in renewable feedstocks, in technology and markets, policy and strategy, and in sustainability. That we are here to help if there's something you need us to do. The next one. Here you can see the upcoming conferences that we are organizing, and especially for the Advanced Recycling Conference, there will be 2 sessions for textile technology, and as I assume there are a lot of textile experts here and experts also on recycling. I would very recommend you to reach out for abstracts, because the call is still open until middle of June. And the other one I just wanted to mention is the Renewable Materials Conference that will take place in September. So there, all the solutions for the renewable materials will be present there. And there will be also a big, you don't need to change the slide now, but I just wanted to say there's a big topic also on biodegradability there. We are going to talk with you, and that you can talk with us. We want to show you how to do that. Here you can find how you can change your screen so that you will find the nice place for also for the Q&A part, and also you can either have a big part of the speakers or of the slides. So please use the Q&A for the questions, and chat would be only be for questions of technical. So I will look up your questions on the Q&A part, and I also will take them as soon as possible. But if we don't have time to take them, feel free to send email to the experts speaking today. So the next lady starting will be Heli. Heli, are you ready to share your slides?
Yes, I am. And then there's actually a comment in the Q&A that there is a heavy echo. So maybe others who are not speaking should unmute or mute themselves, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I can't. Okay, I didn't see that. Thanks. Okay.
But then somebody is saying no heavy echo there. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
and then I will close my microphone now and give the word to you, Heli.
Okay, thank you. I will start sharing my screen. So just give me a sec here. Share, not that one, but this one. And I suppose it's now visible to you, my slides. Okay, Claudia is nodding. Thank you. Okay, hey, good afternoon, everyone. So nice to have you here listening to our discussion on textile recycling. As Asta already nicely introduced, my name is Heli Kangas, and I work in R&D at Valmet, and I'm focusing on development of textile recycling concepts, and I'm located in Finland. But before I start, I will say something about Valmet. So Valmet is a large industrial company, and we are a technology provider and a process developer, and mainly for pulp, paper, and energy industries. And then why I'm now here speaking to you about textile recycling is that Valmet is looking into this topic as a potential new business area for Valmet, and looking into whether there is a business potential in textile recycling. As I said, Valmet is a big company. We are global, so we have some kind of activities in all the continents in the world. We have around 18,500 experts working globally, and we are present in 40 countries. But our customers actually operate in more than 120 countries. And we have a headquarters in Finland, and the kind of the history also starts there with the pulp industry, and that was over 200 years ago. And then maybe something about why we are looking into this textile recycling. As I said, it's a potential new business area for us. And these market drivers, which probably are very well known to the audience, include like economical drivers, legislative drivers, sustainability and environment, technology advancement, and then drivers related to the consumers and brands. So from the economical drivers point of view, we all are aware that this global textile consumption is increasing, and it's even growing all the time, but this demand is met with virgin fibers. And then at the same time, the amount of textile waste is also growing and will continue growing. And there is several forecasts made that there will be a deficit or a kind of supply kind of a gap in this recycled fibers. So we should sort of start using or demanding more of these recycled materials. And then these legislative drivers are also very strong. So especially in the EU area, we have a lot of upcoming legislation which will address this EU waste management. And then there is this extended producer responsibility, which sort of guides the producers to kind of take into account the recycling and reusability as well. Eco-design legislation, and then, as I already mentioned, this waste and waste shipment bans. But we will come to these topics later on during our discussion. And then about the environmental and sustainability, I mean, this landfilling is something that is gradually being phased out. So we cannot put our textiles into landfill anymore, and incineration will be also minimized. And then in the future, it's forecasted that there will be a fee on carbon dioxide emission, and we are more and more playing with the carbon credits. And then as we look at the textile and fashion brands, more and more brands will committed and will become committed on the circularity and sustainability. This is just briefly about the drivers. And then also, like, why is Valmet looking into this? What is the motivation for Valmet besides the drivers? And this is because we think that our existing knowledge on treatment of natural fibers will give us a good position to support in this process development. And our existing processes and machinery can be adjusted to these evolving textile fiber processes, whether it's recycling or then kind of manufacturing of dissolving pulp, which is used for textile purposes. And then we have piloting facilities which can be used to kind of enable these both established companies and then startup companies to test and adjust their solutions for scale up. And then we have a lot of expertise in the scaling up also. So especially when you are thinking of demonstration to industrial scale, we are there to help, but also in when you are considering from pilot to demonstration. And then we are very keen on development and commercialization novel processes, and we are involved in many companies in this field and also participating in R&D projects to take this further. So kind of this, what is our role? As already said, we are the solution provider. Like, for example, myself, I'm involved in this concept development. So I want to kind of build the concept from using our processes or suitable processes and the machinery. And then we can provide these technologies and the expertise in the similar fields, kind of processing natural fibers and synthetic fibers. And as I said, we are already active. So we have commercial references. Circulose in Sundsvall we have supplied the main machinery. And then Spinnova is also, it's not related to textile recycling as such, but they are also doing new type of cellulose-based textile filaments, and we have supplied the pilot facility, the drying and heat recovery technology. And we do collaboration in different EU-funded and then kind of nationally funded projects where we have university or research organization as partners. This is the kind of idea or simplified process examples that we see that Valmet can supply and deliver and develop. So first of all, we started with this textile recycling, sorting and storage, and then move towards making the textile smaller, shredding and impurity removal. And this is the technology that Valmet ourselves we work on, but this is provided through our partners. And the Valmet kind of processing starts when we make the textile pieces into fibers using a different kind of technologies. And this is done in a wet environment, so we use water as a medium here. And with this process, we also do the impurity removal before we have the fibers dispersed in water, and then we do the separation of the technologies. And now I'm talking about polycotton materials, so we can separate the polyester and cotton. And then for this, it doesn't show here that we can process the polyester even further through our partners, but the cotton is something that we have the most experience on, so we can provide then the decolorization and quality optimization for the cotton or cellulose part, do the washing processes, pressing the water and drying and baling, and then at the end you have your cotton pulp. But this is a very simplified process scheme, but this is how we see the process at the moment, and this can be, as I said, used for polycotton, so mixed of cotton and synthetics, and then cotton-rich materials. And I mentioned the pilots, so we currently operate 2 pilot facilities or environments where we can, which are sort of geared towards textile recycling. So one in Inkeroinen, Finland, where we have this mechanical pre-treatment pilots for operating or processing the textiles into fibers. And then in Sundsvall, Sweden, we have this more chemical treatment facilities where we can provide the bleaching, decolorization, and so forth. And last drying also to dry the material. To summarize, this is my last slide. So we can provide partnership for the textile recycling kind of value chain through proven technologies and our expertise in fiber treatment and engineering and scaling up. And then we can also scale up or kind of show the whole journey from lab test to full scale production. And then we are a reliable partner because we have this kind of R&D in our hearts, and we have a global presence, and we can besides the process technologies, we can also provide automation and services. So happy to be here and discuss with you later on. Thank you.
Excellent, Heli, and keeping the time. I would take one question for you as you was keeping the time so nicely. Bruno Langlois is going to ask, looking at the synthetic fibers production, I'm not seeing limitation in the 20 years of raw material. Plant capacity in China alone can meet the virgin fiber demand. Can you elaborate on what data do you consider to see limitation on available material to support textile growth and increase demand to recycled materials?
You mean that? No, I didn't mean that there will be a deficit in virgin materials, but if we want to convert from virgin to recycled, I mean, there will be a deficit in that recycled if the demand is getting bigger on the recycled. I hope I answered that correctly. So of course, I mean, we can grow as much as we like the synthetic part. There is not going to be a kind of deficit on that, but the recycled part, if we don't do or if we don't increase the kind of the recycled. And I would also mention that nowadays when we are talking about recycled polyester, it mostly comes from the bottles. But if that is going to be outphased, the bottle kind of usage, the PET bottle using for textile recycling, then it's more and more going to be there.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions coming in, but I will take them when we talk about the different kind of topics today. So I'm happy to introduce you Melina Schachtleben from ITA, from RWTH Aachen University, and the stage is yours, Melina.
Thank you very much, Asta, for your kind introduction. I look forward to our discussion here and to the many questions that will hopefully come in also in the next hour. So as Asta already mentioned, I'm a researcher at the ITA Textile Institute in Aachen, and I'm also going to share you some slides on what we are actually working on. So let me know if it has worked.
Yes, it's fine.
Wonderful. So I've been working at the Institute for the past nearly 8 years, working in sustainability projects. But I'm going to start with introducing you to the Institute as a whole. So we are working with fiber-based materials, generally speaking. On the design of products, new materials, material combinations, process chains, machines to produce these textiles, functionalization of textile fibers, and many other key technologies that are happening in this scope. So we are looking from the raw material up at the different process steps from yarn to fabric, composite production, and semi-finished parts. I'm going to show you some examples of what we're working on in a minute. So the group has grown in the past years quite a bit. There's the Institute as the basic work station, and we're working with many other companies also that have been founded in the past years and that have specific focus. And we're working in public funded projects and also directly with industry. So I'm going to highlight that a little later as well, and the ways that we can potentially also work together. So the big goal is the holistic biotransformation of the textile value chain, using new resources to produce new textiles and yes, to find answers to the big challenges of our time. We're looking at bio-based raw materials. The reduction of energy and water consumption in all the processes. Design for recycling is a big topic, and overall circularity, which will also be a big topic today. We have some huge projects in that line that we are working on, and just to tell you how, like our team, how big we are, we're about 120 scientists working in this field on the many different aspects of the textile chain, and we're supported by about 80 people in the general staff and technical services, and lots of students without whom this work would not be possible. So yes, the different areas we're working in is the first one I would like to highlight is mobility. As you can see, there are many different products, textile products in the car, much more than most most would be assuming. So we're looking at the design of these textile products in cars, in other mobility aspects for aviation is a big area as well. Lightweight design is the biggest driver for that. And production methods, production of textiles, tailored product structures, and yes, a big topic that can be also solved with textiles is the structural health monitoring. Building and living are a big topic as well. So the textile concrete, light emitting fibers in concrete. So there are some very new and very interesting solutions that can be looked at in the textile sector, in the textile building sector. Geotextiles are also a big topic. Can they be biodegradable? Can we leave them on the field? Do they have to be removed? So there's quite a few colleagues working on solutions for the geotextile services. We also have one department also focusing only on health topics. So textile implants, tissue engineering, wound treatment, how to monitor heart rate, and etc. using textiles, and many other very fascinating research topics in the medical field. It's also a very fast-growing area looking at textiles. Overall, as I mentioned before, we were looking to reduce energy and water consumption. So nearly all of these departments here are looking for circular economy aspects. Recycling is a big topic, to use new raw materials, to change the processes to be less energy consumptive, and use renewable energy resources. So that's something that's as we are applying for public funding, that is hugely important in the past years. Information communication, also a big topic. We have some colleagues only focusing on robotics, on wearables, health monitoring, as I mentioned before, energy harvesting. So this is really very interesting field of research. And yes, production techniques overall. So the mechanical engineering of it all are the origins of this institute. And we've developed this in the past years also to, of course, Industry 4.0, the human machine interconnection and co-working environments, self-optimization. So there's lots of really invested colleagues working in this field. New materials, how to process materials, analytics and testing we can also do in-house. Yes, and of course qualifications. So we're doing trainings and of course teaching students here because we're part of the university. But you're also training industry partners that come to us with very specific a need of knowledge. So we're preparing also workshops and webinars for customers directly. And yes, we're always happy to invite everyone to come see the Institute and yes, see if we can work on together in one of these fields. As I mentioned before, I am specifically working in multi-filament technologies. So I'm doing a very short detour also in my specific field, because that's also something we're going to be talking about today mostly. So textile recycling, functionalization of textiles, structure development of new multifilaments using biopolymers for melt spun filaments and elastic filaments. That's what we're specifically working on. And we're going to talk about many of these topics concerning recycling. I've been working in this field for the past years, as I mentioned before, in direct industry funded projects and in research projects. So I'm really looking forward to your questions and also the discussion topics happening here. I'm not going to dive too much into detail, but we're working in recycling along the entire recycling chain, basically, hopefully a cycle, but mostly still a chain. And we're going into more detail in the next hour. Biopolymers is also a big topic. And the other focus aspects, I think, will not be that relevant for our talk today. Just to highlight, we're working on this. And if you are interested, just contact me. And for now, I'm very much looking forward to the discussion happening now and the many questions that Asta also will have for Heli and me. And yeah, with that, thank you very much. And back to you, Asta.
Thank you, Melina. I would say I can take one question for you, Melina, before we go to Claudia. Just a minute, Claudia. Melina, to guarantee yarn safety, considering biomedical applications, any treatment is applied to remove any biological contamination or so, how we should manage this considering the textile reutilization?
Okay. So yarn safety and biomedical applications, that is really interesting. We've talked to one partner who's actually working in this field. It definitely depends on the biomedical contamination. I think mostly today still it's being incinerated. That is the sad truth. But there are many ideas on how to work with that. Sometimes washing is the best way to go. If there's more contamination, definitely there's more work to do. But I know there are some companies working on that, and because there is quite a lot of contaminated medical waste out there, we can't all burn it. So it's a very interesting and potentially resource-saving question. Thank you for that.
So now we are coming to Claudia von Bonn, and she is our distinguished media partner and helped us to find so many people that are interested in textile recycling. She comes from the textile technology. Claudia, stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Asta, and a warm welcome from my side too. Yeah, my name is Claudia van Bonn, and I have a background as textile engineer, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Textile Technology Trade Media brand. I'm really happy to attend this Nova Talks because I'm sure that this dynamic format will be a very interesting experience for all of us. And yeah, it's quite new, I think that's part of the future, let's say it that way. Yeah, as you can see on the second slide, our Textile Technology Media brand is part of the Deutscher Fachverlag Media Group. And this media group is today one of the largest independent business media companies in Europe. Altogether, we have approximately 100 trade media covering 70 to 80, I'm not quite sure, key industries. The third slide shows that Textile Technology is our umbrella brand for the media technical textiles with non-woven strands, Meliant and Man-Made Fibers International. Every brand has its own homepage, and all together we inform about the whole value chain. We start with fibers up to technical textiles and non-wovens. Excuse me. Our print portfolio includes the 3 publications you can see here. It's Technical Textiles in German and in English for all topics related to technical textiles and nonwovens. We publish it 5 times a year, and it's around about 8,000 copies. Meliant in German and English is the second trade media we have. It's published in German and English, and it has all topics from fibers to spinning, weaving, knitting, up to textile finishing. And a growing focus we have on recycling. That's why this topic here is quite interesting for us too. It's published 6 times a year. And the third publication we have is Man-Made Fibers International. This is published in English for the global man-made fibers industry. And there is for sure a strong focus on recycling. As you can see on the slide, every brand has its own homepage, and we publish 4 newsletters a week, and these are free of charge. Currently, we have approximately 42,000 page views per month. Yeah, this is it from my side. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to this format combining the information and the interactive discussion. And then it's the exciting topic, textile recycling. So yeah, I'm really, really interested in the next hour. And I'm very happy to hand over now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Claudia. Very kind of you. So we come to our deep dive to textile recycling. And as you know, as experts, the most problematic material is with the mixed textiles, and the garments are the one group of the textile that include a lot of mixed textiles. And of course, you know all that there are also home textiles and other kind of textiles that are used in composites and medicine and so on. But today, I think the most biggest problem is in garments. So we will start with the next slide. The textile innovation will be most important part to cope with the problem we see at the next slide. And it is not easy to handle materials. And I have one question for Heli here. There are together for polyplastic material, have you seen another foreign materials as materials there, like metals or something? So you have a lots of materials to handle, and which are the most difficult ones?
Yes, I saw that question also. I've been answering some of the questions also on how do you do the cleaning and impurity removal. And it's really, when the garments come, they contain these kind of zippers, buttons, and these can be metallic, they can be like magnetic or non. And then there are these kind of polymer or plastic buttons also. And of course, it's difficult to get rid of those in a way that you don't lose the yield. I mean, if you end up cutting them, you always you kind of lose a piece of fabric with them. So our solution has been that we do the shredding first. So the shredding is so robust that it doesn't it doesn't, or the machine doesn't mind if they kind of gonna shred these metals also. And after that, there is a magnetic or magnet which removes the magnetic metals. And then after that, we still have some sort of purification that you get rid of these bigger pieces of plastics and metals. But I would also maybe say something about this topic, which is not related to the question, but I would say that I mean the complicated raw material or difficult to handle raw material is also related to the kind of textile structure. So it might contain several layers. So you might have like a outer layer made of cotton, and then the inner layer made of synthetics, and then the third layer of something else. And it's very difficult to, for example, identify which material it is in the end. So it does go to the sort of right sorting bin. But then it's also that we have these blends when these fibers are intertwined together. So it's difficult to kind of separate when there is a polyester fiber and then the cotton fiber together. And besides the fiber composition, they also contain these chemicals like finishing chemicals, coatings, printings. So that's another one that needs to be removed. And then there are so many dyes for these kind of textile fibers that it's difficult to even list all of them, and how you can then kind of recognize these. And then when we are talking about post-consumer, there's always something like sand comes with them, and there might be mold or whatever kind of impurities in the textiles also. So kind of my sort of understanding and how we have been kind of developing this concept is that you need to really, first of all, robust technologies, and you need flexibility, and you need modularity, so that you can, take something and this works for that one, and then you put it into one place, and then you take another process step. So you need to kind of, because you need to handle so much different things. So a lot of flexibility is needed on the processing. Okay, maybe I'll stop here and see if somebody else has something to say also.
Yeah. I have a question here. I don't know if Melina or Heli want to answer this. How should textile recycling deal with the legacy chemicals, meeting substances that may be present in used textiles but are now restricted under REACH, or may become restricted in the future? So for post-consumer textiles, complete information on the original chemical treatments is often not available. How can REACH compliance be assured under these conditions without making textile recycling practically impossible? So who wants to answer this one?
I can maybe start. So this is a very difficult question that you pose, and it's there is no easy answer, I fear. So today already we recycle textiles that have been produced maybe in the 80s, depending on when these post-consumer textiles are sorted out of the end consumer's closet. Whenever they reach the recycler, we do not know where this product is from, when it has been produced, what colors, what dyes, what metals maybe have been used. And so this is a very like potent question that you pose, because and yeah, as you say, as I already mentioned in the question, analyzing each and every garment is economically unfeasible, although it is possible. I mean, of course, we could analyze everything and check if there is a not REACH conform chemical inside. I think the only way forward without completely losing the focus is to really push design for recycling, to really say that now we have to do better. We have to design products from now on that will be better for future recycling cycles, and for now to as best as you can analyze the feedstock that you have for products, chemicals that are not allowed today. We do not know yet what will be banned in the future, but to do the best you can for today. Yes, keeping health and business case in mind.
There was one question, I think this is also for Heli, about the decoloration. How do you cope with this one?
Well, it's difficult. We've learned with our R&D that there's no one universal chemical that can decolor or remove all the dyes. So when I showed the process seam, we are now realized that we need to do kind of the separation of the synthetics and cotton, for example, separately, and then apply different chemicals for these cotton and polyester fractions. We are not that skillful in treating the polyester fractions, so there we rely on our partners. But for cotton, we know from our background on the kind of cellulose pulp bleaching which type of chemicals to use, and it's usually one chemical is not enough there either, but you need a sequence of chemical, for example, that you have a reduction and oxidation that to really break up the kind of the bonds between the chemicals and the fibers. But it's something that only kind of do investigation on these chemicals you can find the right ones for each of the dyes, that there are so many.
So I think we should move to the next part of our discussion, and this is the sorting. So who wants to give us a little bit overview?
I can definitely start giving you a small insight into the sorting processes today. So traditionally, textile, post-consumer textile and textile sorting is done manually. So every textile is sorted by hand into different fractions, which are then sold on or exported or incinerated. So this process is, of course, quite expensive, as you can imagine. If we, for example, sort by hand in Germany, it is very difficult to produce fractions in the end that yes, are cheap enough for recyclers to keep on like value adding in their processes. So what is being done in the past years is that automation in the sorting process is being looked at also by basically different players in the field. So either the sorters themselves, sorting plant producers are looking into this. So there are many different players looking into this. Also research is also keeping in mind that we do want to keep these processes, this value-adding process in Europe. Lots of research and also public funded money is going into this. And there are certain already developed processes. So for example, there is automatic detection of the material. So if there's it's sorted by material, we can detect the material and then sort into different material fractions. Then again, it gets complicated because there's not just cotton and polyester, but we do have material mixes. Many different material mixes. Actually, if you have a look and the textiles that you're currently wearing, you will see that most of them are a mix of different materials. So this is definitely a challenge for automation. It's a challenge for sorting because also manually it's difficult to see if something is a mix of 4 different materials. What we can sort manually is it a trouser? Is it a trouser probably made of cotton? Or is it a t-shirt? So these fractions are easier to detect. And also there, automation is being looked at in checking, is the garment still wearable? Is it damaged in any way? is it in any way fashionable still? So there's lots of different automation efforts going into the sorting process, because this is where the resources are for future recycling and also for reuse, which is, of course, we're talking about recycling in this talk mostly, but reuse is something that is looked at even before even considering recycling. So reuse is the first step. And automation is also looking into this aspect of sorting. Maybe, Heli, you want to add to this?
Well, I mean, you are absolutely right, and then for us the challenge has also always been, or is still, like kind of the inadequate capacity for this sorting. So when we think that in the future we will have these textile recycling plants scaled, this sorting needs to be scaled as well. And I at the moment that you mentioned this resale, which is the kind of the priority. I mean, reusing comes first and then recycling, and how we can automate this kind of reusing, sorting for reuse. So that's something that I think a lot. Like how can some not the human touch kind of decide that this is reusable? How can it be automated? So I think this needs to come also then, and then kind of the, as we call it, pre-sorting, and then the sorting for fiber kind of composition and so forth. So I think we need this one also to kind of make the textile recycling really move.
There was a question also for the technology of the detection of infrared-based material. Is there some other possibilities as the infrared-based detection?
So there, the one that we are also in the Institute mostly working with is near infrared, which is very potent for detecting the textile material. But MIR is also something that could be looked at if we are looking at the, yes, can a product be reworn? Is it reusable? Then picture detection and neurologic networks are the way that have been used in a few projects in the past. So this is all, like, especially the detection, like the automatic detection of reusability is something that is still being researched in companies and in institutes. So from research side, since there is still a manual aspect about it. So the textile has to be placed in a certain way under the detection method to really guarantee that everything is seen. You can't just throw it on a conveyor belt and hold a camera on it and decide if this is a designer piece, for example. So there are still limitations, and there's still lots of effort going into the robustness of these processes. But yes, because we need this feedstock, the effort will continue to look into the automation of these processes to keep them here in Europe.
As you said, you keep them in Europe. There was also a question if you need partners outside of Europe in this. Heli, do you need partners in sorting from outside of Europe, or are you it is possible to have them here?
Well, what to say? I think there are a lot of these technology suppliers in Europe for the sorting. So I'm more thinking of Europe is the kind of where the most of the legislation now happens, and for us as a company, it's the kind of the first place to start. But I would say that if we decide to go somewhere else, for example, North America, I would then maybe look at the local partners there. So I'm not kind of restricted to saying that it's only Europe or only something else. But I think, and the partnering is something that I mean, I don't have any sort of restrictions in that sense. So I wouldn't say that it's only Europe or only something else. I think if there is something that it cannot be found in Europe, I'm happy to look at the other places. But as of now, I how to put it together, or I think that it should be sort of local sort of suppliers for these technologies to look at.
Yes, and not just because of politics, but also because of practicality. The logistics are quite a big topic in the textile industry, and it is a global industry, and materials are being carted from India to China, then to Indonesia to be put into garments, then to Europe or North America for sale. So this is also something that is creating a big a big part of the emissions that are part of this industry, and that is also something that can be mitigated looking at local networks. And yes, so this is not just a political, but also a like sustainable, practical decision to work in local networks wherever you are.
I have a nice question for René. Looking at the current industrial situation in Europe, particularly in the chemical industry, do you see focus in Europe leaning more towards sorting rather than final recycling as a role for Europe?
Maybe Melina, you can start.
The thing is, there is no sorting without a business case. The sorters will only sort a specific fraction if they're at the end there is a company that is buying this fraction. So sorting for sorting's sake will never happen. These are business people. They need to sell their products. I mean, from a research side, I of course am applying for money to only look at a certain question. But even there, every funding body from national or European side will always ask, is this something the industry needs? And if there is no, let's say, chemical or thermomechanical or mechanical recycling industry that is looking to buy this feedstock, then there will never be more than a few joint development projects, and then it will stop. So this is actually a very important point. So there is the recycling industry, the recyclers, the machine developers, the actual business that do recycle. There are the sorters, and they need to work together because the one can't live without the other. And this connection point is quite important. And you can't highlight the importance of networking and talking to your partners enough. This is absolutely necessary to talk, to exchange limits and parameters and the exact data of what is needed for the recycling processes, the exact data of what can be sorted with a certain price point in mind. So yes, talk to everyone is with a big exclamation mark.
Yeah. So we were moving now to the next part. We have very many nice questions. So fiber to fiber recycling is, of course, something that we look forward to from the point of recycling and a quality of the textiles, and there has been a lots of nice startups that are going to developing new nice textiles. We have seen that at the Cellulose Fiber Conference, at the Innovation Awards. So there's a lots of going on coming from our startups that are very innovative, but everyone knows the valley of death, so-called problem. How do you scale up after your innovation might be flying very nice, but there is nothing there, no money to cope with this valley. So we would like to talk a little bit of this upscaling today. Heli wanted to say something about that.
Yes, I have a few things that I wanted to say. That I mean, there is a certain risk involved in this upscaling of the solutions. I mean, even though we have like expertise and that, but I think as a company, but we cannot, I mean, be there the risk takers alone, nor can these startups. So I think the risk on upscaling should be kind of evenly distributed between all the actors in the value chain, and that goes for the sorting also. That you know, you need risk sharing there as well. So it's the suppliers and the brands and the producers. And then we also need some support system that should be offered on the both kind of the national and EU level and coming from the kind of these agencies. And then also funding is obviously public funding is needed for the scaling. I mean, we've done some sort of business case calculations, and it's that, and these show that it's very difficult to make this scaled process profitable at the time that we are living in just your own equity, because the capex is very high. So therefore this support from the public funding is needed for the early developers, at least because the market is not there yet and taking your materials. And then also, like when talking about this innovation and startups, I think all the innovations should address both the kind of the technical and also the commercial viability early on. So because it's not worth to invest on the technology that it's not, you know, it's not going to make business, as Melina already say. So this should be secured, and also it's I mean, the investors also always need the kind of that you have something financially you know, under the line, and not the sustainability claim that we have heard very many times. It doesn't work itself. I mean, you need to make business as well. Yeah, so that this would be like my starting point on this upscaling discussion.
At the moment, we don't have questions for the upscaling part, so I think we should just move to the next topic.
Maybe I can also add to that point.
Okay.
So what is really interesting concerning upscaling is that to look at as a learning, to look at cases where it didn't work, because that's the one time where everybody's looking in and trying to analyze what happened. And I mean, a big example is Renewcell, and it's one of the big learnings that I took from there is that what Heli highlighted already is that the offtake of the raw material that is being recycled in these companies, it has to work, and it doesn't happen by itself. So the responsibility has to be taken also by the end user, which in this case is not the person buying the garment or the textile, it's the companies that produce the product. So I also see a lot of responsibility there that should be there, basically, with not just demanding lowest price recycled material, but also looking at the potential and working in lasting partnerships with these types of startups and companies that are putting all their money and business on the line to produce new textiles and new textile resources, and to actually design products made with these materials, and also as an invest in future processes. So yes, the sharing the risk, as Heli said, is a very important point.
There was also a question about the competitiveness of recycled fibers and textile recycling compared to virgin materials. So do you think that there is a negative impact or from sorting or to recycling inside of the value chain?
I think that,
maybe,
yeah,
please,
yeah,
okay, so I don't think I would say it's a negative. So every process step in this chain is value adding in this process cycle. So in order to optimize this, there need to be lasting partnerships. There needs to be lasting discussions about what each partner in the chain, in the cycle needs. And from what it can't be like, especially the apparel industry is known for very harsh negotiations and fast switching of suppliers. And this is something that does not work in circularity. The partners, every value adding step needs to exist and needs to do a business and exist also in the future for this cycle to work. And this basically demands everyone who is looking for circularity to work with partners and to create these lasting relationships and these lasting discussions.
And I think in price wise, it's expected that in the beginning the recycled fiber will be somewhat more expensive than the virgin one, and but it's the fiber. I mean, if you take the look at the whole price of the garment, it's only a fraction of it. So, but of course, it's multiplying, as Melina said, along the value chain then, and who's going to pay the price? I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's a difficult one to kind of solve at the moment, but I think once we got this starting, then we can negotiate the price lower. And when it's scaled, this is where I at least believe.
Yeah, but now we move forward. And of course, the frame conditions and the regulatory environment will be one to help to finance this problem of the value chain. The next one. So we have this eco-design for sustainable products regulation. So there should be a support also for the recycled share, and that means there would be possibilities for so-called eco-modulation fees. That means that the garments that are more sustainable or include recycled fiber share has to pay less of these fees, and the ones that have textiles that are not so sustainable have to pay more, and this money should be then used for the financing of the system and for the value chains. Melina, do you have some comments on this one?
You mean the minimal recycling quantity that is proposed there?
Yes, or how that will influence the situation. Do you see this? Do you see that this will help? Because this regulation is already in place, but there is, of course, looking for further steps.
Yes, so absolutely. Lots of the companies that we talk to are really hoping for a solution there. But I think what the past years have shown us that the regulation is not coming exactly when first designed or first proposed, and there are still levers that can change the outcome of what is being proposed. So it's until it's there, it's a waiting process. But lots of business cases are hoping for these promised topics of the eco-design regulation. So I personally really hope that it's coming in the way that was proposed. If not, a lot of the and of the companies and the business cases that have been designed might have to change, or but it's already having an impact that it's taking so long to get a clear legislative landscape there.
Yeah. Okay, I have here a comment, or is it a question? How to ensure that recyclates produced in Europe from European waste streams with a European cost structure are competitive in a global fashion market in which most of the fabric production and confectioning takes place in Asia. So that is also, of course, one of the big problems in these value chains.
Yes, I think that's the European Commission's kind of intent that it should be a like level playing field for all. So Europeans should be kind of treated the similar way than then export coming in. But it's not an easy task to kind of solve that. That is true.
Okay, so then we go to the next slide. Of course, the quality of the textiles will be the one that we want to improve in this eco-design directive as well. So is there something you want to say about the current state of the quality of the textiles we are going to recycle in Europe at the moment?
I can absolutely start. So what is currently being like put in the recycling or in the sorting process, what is being collected. When you listen to the sorters and also to the collectors, there's a massive groaning in the past few years, but it's an older process. So starting with fast fashion, and nowadays with ultra fast fashion, the raw material quality of the materials has deteriorated quite a bit. And usually the business case of sorters and collectors traditionally has been to resell used textiles as to reuse again. So recycling is also only a newer business case, and the reselling of used textiles is put under pressure by the low quality of the original product. And also for recycling, this poses quite a bit of challenge because polymer chains are short in polyester. The cotton fibers are short, which makes it very difficult to mechanically recycle. So chemical recycling processes are the only way to go. And there again, if the raw material is difficult, contaminated in the material mixes, that poses quite a few of additional challenges for the recycling processes. Elastanes are a big topic. Elastanes have been used in the past decades quite massively to make textiles or clothing more comfortable. And they are very difficult for recycling processes. So there are so many different topics you could talk about concerning quality of textiles that relate to the reselling of used textiles, to the recycling of post-consumer textiles. So it's quite a big topic. If you have any specific questions, please let us know. And Heli, absolutely, you can also add to the topic.
Yes,
Yeah.
Sorry, Heli. There was one question about this. You are processing polyester and cotton mixed textile. Could you process complex textiles like blend of cotton, polyester, and lycra? That was just what Melina was mentioning. Maybe you want to go to this, Heli.
Well, I was just say that it's usually that we have more experience on the cotton and polyester mixes, but then lycra, for example, would be removed as a kind of impurity, and then the technologies that we work for separation, they usually have some kind of limit for the elastine part, for example. But regarding this quality of textile, I was just going to add that it's like already happening, and it's predicted that the quality of textiles with this mandatory collection in Europe, it will worsen. So more and more this kind of lower quality kind of material is coming to the collection, and then also I think it was a couple of weeks ago, it was shown that nearly like 50% of these collected materials is non-reusable, and this is because of the fast fashion. And even though I've heard that the charity shops that have this reusable clothing, they don't even accept this fast fashion clothing again. So this is, I think, something that hopefully there will be some kind of legislation to stop this development, so that what we reuse and what we recycle would be of equal quality and not a lot of this fast fashion.
I have even heard that it might be 70% of the garments that are not reusable. So you have then a lot of material to recycle. Or is all of this fast fashion also usable as a recycling material? Can you work with that?
Well, I don't have any study behind me that I would work, but it's been shown that they contain a lot of these harmful chemicals, which was addressed before, and it definitely not reached compatible. And then what I've seen, it's a lot of these sequins and prints and things like that, which are not so nice in recycling. That I have experience of.
There's a question. How can a collector sort or distinguish between the fabric quality of fast fashion items? How does it work?
I don't know, actually. Melina, do you? I think they some. I mean, if you take them to these shops, for example, for reuse, maybe they recognize it by their eyes and touch and feel. But otherwise, I don't know if there is a test on sorting. Do you know, Melina?
No, so what sorters mostly are looking for first is if this product is resellable as a product itself. So not the quality of the raw material itself, but the quality of the finished product. But a fast or ultra fast fashion T-shirt, for example, that has been washed in a certain amount of cycles, the quality is really low. You cannot sell this to anyone for a price that is interesting to the sorters anymore. So this is what I meant earlier with that the business case of the sorters is massively endangered. And then, of course, it is possible to detect, for example, with NIR technology, to what kind of material it is. Is it, for example, a 100% polyester T-shirt? But already, but also on this level, it's not possible to say if this is a low-quality polyester or not. So this is something, unfortunately, that the recyclers will notice once they put this T-shirt into their processes. I mean, of course, there's analytics methods that you can use to detect the quality, but this is also why post-consumer recycling is so difficult. One of the many reasons why this is a challenge.
Yeah, and I would also add that I'm reading this question, that how do you distinguish this fast fashion from conventional manufacturer? I think if they recognize it by their eyes when it's at the collector, then they will discard it because of the known problematic chemicals, that there is a health hazard. So maybe it's due to that also.
Okay, I think we should move forward. The next topic was the extended producer responsibility, and this has something to do with the whole value chain. That means the producer is now responsible for the end of life of the garments, and not only the producers have to pay fees for that, but also the brands has to pay fees. And Melina also mentioned already, it should be also for the consumers also to pay something for textiles you can use now longer. So we will hope that this extended producer responsibility also will include, most probably also will be something that the import has to also to fulfill. And of course, it will be important to see in the future if all these bans of textiles that are coming to Europe are also included in this producer responsibility. And we will see if this doesn't come to force, what then happens. So what shall we then do with the textiles if the textiles are not not going to be recycled, or the recycled share will not be used in the future. So there are a lot of open questions in this at the moment. Are there questions about this one? Resellable has been 4% maximal and decreasing, so no solution, right? We need an end-of-life process, thus business case based on feedstock open or closed loop doesn't matter, or... Yes, that was more or less a question. Did you understand, Heli, what was meant with this question? Business case based on feedstock open or closed loop doesn't matter, or... Okay, that means we just need a business case if all these regulations don't help us.
Maybe the way I understand this question, so closed loop, open loop means that our resources from the textile industry, once they are recycled, also can they be sold to other industries as well? The other way around, we've been doing it for quite a while. We've been stealing bottle flakes to use them in the textile industry. Basically, that is open loop recycling, and so. The stance of the European Union on this is quite direct. We want to focus closed loop recycling, so that every like textiles remain in the textile loop, bottles remain in the bottle loop, and this is highlighted quite often. I don't quite know if it's really fixed in any legislative directive yet, but this is something that is being highlighted a lot. The focus is a closed loop recycling.
Yes, but I also commented one question earlier, or answered there, that I think we need all of the approaches at this moment when this is developing. So I'm not saying no to this open loop, meaning that when we take the textile waste and we do treat it somehow, it couldn't or shouldn't be used to something else, because the textile to textile recycling is so hard. So I would take these more low-hanging fruits and maybe, have some type of end use other than textiles, which I wouldn't consider downcycling. So I think we need all these approaches when we are only starting to sort of formulating the market.
Okay, I have a comment from René here. That's exactly where the problem lies. The issue with lower quality isn't directly about fabric performance or durability, but rather that it has no resale value. Of course, a brand name carries a higher resale value, and ultra-fast fashion brands sometimes use the exact same fabric as premium labels. Yes, okay, but now we have to move forward because our time is running out, and we want to talk also about the investments and market development. The next slide would come to recycling of cellulosics. Heli, I think you wanted to take this one.
Well, I mean, maybe I've said all that I wanted, but this like recycling cellulosic, it's something that is, I mean, we have circulose, that is the first of its kind, and now I'm getting a message that your internet connection is unstable, so hopefully it will last. So I think let me see.
Heli, we can still hear you very well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yes, please continue.
Okay, thank you. So I think the cellulosic recycling, it's more of a Valmet perspective. It's something that we are very interested in, or how it started for us. But then, I mean, putting the learnings that we have learned from this type of kind of processing, we can now put into the polycotton mix. So I think this is some leveraging leveraging this kind of know-how and putting it into other uses. And maybe what else that I would like to say, and then also about related to that, about the value chain, and we as a kind of a Valmet as a machine and process supplier, like we seem to be an invisible part of the value chain in that sense that I mean we are not your sort of normal type of investor or a partner that to work with, but we are, I mean, I just want to put it there that we are very much interested in discussing this recycling cellulosics, and also discussing with material suppliers and brand, and about especially about the upscaling of the production. And I would also say that it doesn't happen by itself. So we need the investments and we need the funding. And then, I mean, we as a partner, we could be part of this, designing this new recycling facility on then a retro fit. And yes, I think that's something that I wanted to say about this. And then that we should establish more of these cross-industry collaborations and learn from the industries that are not normally part of the value chain, like the machine suppliers, and then maybe pulp and paper industry, plastics industry, and so forth. And the industries that have made this radical transition should be tapped into.
Then thank you. The next slide, please. So we are running now out of time, but I think we can share some thoughts from Melina to the thermomechanical recycling, because we did not touch this today.
Thank you, Asta. So about thermomechanical recycling, maybe because we do not have much time left. So the recycling technologies and thermomechanical recycling, they are quite well developed, I would say. So machine producers have been working in this field for a long time. There are lots of companies actually doing thermomechanical recycling. And as Heli mentioned, there is an industry, namely the plastics industry, that is quite far along in recycling these raw materials, these kinds of raw materials. So there's so much to learn from another industry. Of course, textiles is always more difficult than you would anticipate. That's also something I come across with every partner we're working with who's not classically from the textile industry. It's always a little trickier, more chemicals involved than you would expect. For example, more mixing of other materials than you would expect. But there are quite a few very good initiatives, and I think the success has been to not look at all the problems that we've also been discussing today, but to look at resources that are easy to recycle. So at partnerships where a small loop can be closed as a first step. So that's also something, because it is quite a big challenge if you look at the entire big picture, at the legislative context, at the chemicals involved. But if you are looking for in your network or in a smaller setting for certain medical textiles that are collected somewhere separately, automotive textiles. If you're looking for home textiles, for example, there are already value streams that are a bit easier to manage. And maybe as a start, if you would really want to work in closing a loop or many loops in textile recycling, this is the way to go. So as Heli already mentioned, I would say talk to industry players you wouldn't normally talk to, contact companies like Valmet, talk to Heli about textile recycling, about the network she already has, which is huge in this industry. Come talk to me. We're talking to many different companies and different industries, and know about some initiatives on the research side, on the industry development side that could be interesting. Some we're also part of, but also just to connect. It's a big part of our work, and this is really what we have also in preparation for this talk come to highlight that without building these close-knit networks, without talking to sorters, collectors, without talking to recyclers from other industries, the recycling, these many very interesting recycling startups and joint ventures that are happening at the moment in chemical recycling, in thermomechanical recycling, in mechanical recycling. So there are so many initiatives that are there. If you are still unsure where to start, contact us, and we are absolutely willing to help you. And yes, if you already know a few companies or think you're interested in certain value streams, contact them, visit them on the fairs, and I think this is the only way forward.
Yeah.
Maybe I can still mention that I've seen a lot of kind of technical questions in the question and answers about whether enzymes work and things like that. So I would just say that we need a lot of different approaches, which I already said. We need mechanical recycling, we need thermomechanical recycling, because the variety of the raw materials is so huge, and we need different technologies for the separation. So I wouldn't at this point say no to any of the sort of approaches that you have, whether it's chemical, mechanical, or biochemical. So I think it's value in looking into a lot of different things. The market is not there yet, so it's time still to, there is still time to develop these winning concepts.
Yeah, and that's why we have also this renewable carbon companies at our homepage, so you can find there people that are working in recycling, that are working in CO2 and bio-waste. So I think we need all the solutions, and that thermomechanical might be today also viable solution if you think on a business case. But we have some scenarios for the future, for the last minutes. We wanted to talk to you also about the future of the recycling, and of course also the next slides show what could it be if it's with support for R&D, or what could it be if it's without support for R&D. Melina, you wanted to tell us something about that.
Of course. So as a researcher, you can pretty much imagine what my opinion is on a world without R&D. But if I'm just saying that if there were basically, like for example, no public money to fund circularity R&D, I think there are certain companies that would not feel it too much. There being like the big companies. There's been lots of research and development happening at very huge corporations. They have a lot of money to spend on R&D. Maybe nowadays not so much, as the current economic situation is basically hitting everyone. But any smaller SME would be hit by a world without public funding or extra support for R&D quite badly, because the current economic situation makes a focus on the business, on the actual business happening so important, and the funding allows companies to spend manpower on research and development, which is absolutely necessary if we want to support the European companies and any like Europe as a industry location. We want to support that and protect that. And for me, of course, R&D is the biggest lever for that. So yes, we need it.
I can second that, and then also R&D. Even though I come from a big company, it helps. I mean, public funding. We can work with partners with that money. So it's for us. It's also like crucial to have this kind of public funding. And of course, R&D. Nothing would happen. Innovations wouldn't happen without R&D. So it's very, very important.
Thank you, Heli. Thank you, Melina. The next slide, please. So the key takeaways are that Europe is very interested in legislation to support this, and we will see if the continuous research will be supported and all these supportive policy actions will come, and we cooperate with each other and talk to each other. It will make everything possible. And the next slide shows the recording. So it will be possible to follow the recordings if you have missed something, and also feel free to send the questions on Melina and Heli. We will also send the contact information for you after this webinar when we send you the YouTube link. And last and not least, I want to say thank you to our distinguished speakers and to Claudia Van Bon for supporting this event, and of course Heli especially for sponsoring this and making possible the people to participate for free. And if you have any kind of topics you would put on the page, please contact us. And have a nice afternoon, and thank you for participating to this seminar.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for
Asta.
having me. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.